Welcome, everybody. It is Women Wednesday. I am so happy to be here. It is a fantabulous 23rd of December of this absolutely very interesting year for all of us. I'm so happy we're going to be soon welcoming a new year. But today I am so excited to have and welcome my guest for today for Women Wednesday, Rocio Perez. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and to share powerful messages for the end of the year and how we create extraordinary opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah, it has been an interesting year. Um, Lots of good stuff, lots of difficult stuff. Definitely, somebody was saying the other day, these are one of the years like we've heard of like plagues, that have happened before us, and like all these hundreds of thousands of people have died. It's like we are living that. We are in history where people are going to look back and you were alive when 300,000 plus people died. Yes, we were. And it's crazy that to even hear that, to be a part of that history and be in the midst of this, like it's the sadness, right?
It is, and to really take what we have, right? To take a look and say, hey, what am I grateful for? Grateful to be alive, grateful to be here with you. I was one of the people who got the coronavirus, right? Who had it and who was lucky enough to act super quickly and be able to take care of myself. It took something and it took a while. And this is the first time in history in our generation and that we've experienced something like this, that it's global, that it's impacting everybody. It doesn't matter where you're from, where you're not from, where you're located in this world. It is a reality and just gives us an opportunity to be grateful for every moment in our lives.
Absolutely. I think we've all had an opportunity to reflect and to self reflect and really put things into perspective. And hopefully we got some good things that have come out of it for everybody. But I want to welcome you. I want everybody to learn a little bit about you. You are a leadership consultant and coach and a lot of positive things, but it wasn't always that way. I know we shared conversation and you shared some story. I'd love for you to share with the audience a little bit of your background and why we should be gratitude, be grateful for things.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for the privilege to do this. My story started like many young kids. I had a dream and I wanted to become a teacher. And I remember being 5 years old, running around with my tattered books, and I would tell my Uncle Sergio, someday, Uncle Sergio, someday I'm going to grow up and I'm going to become a teacher. And I was fascinated by life, fascinated by education. And yet the reality was very far fetched from that. Even though I was talking about the future and being in the future and living in the future, I daydreamed my way to success. I can tell you that. Because the reality was very different. It was far fetched from the life that I wanted to embark. And knowing that life abuse of all kinds as a little girl, contemplated suicide at the age of 5. Moments were dark. Life was dark. We moved from point A to point B at the drop of a hat. And it wasn't like the movers are coming, go prepare your Barbies. First of all, there was no Barbies. Second of all, there were no movers. And growing up in such extreme circumstances and poverty really brought me to appreciation in life. I knew that by the time I was 12, we had already moved 13 times from point A to point B, including to Colorado for the second time, and we were about to move for the third time from Colorado. And here I was, I looked at my grandmother one day. I was done with the abuse. School became my safe haven. Yet that wasn't enough because the abuse continued to escalate and it continued to get worse over time. And I looked at my grandmother one day and I said, Grandma, the day before we were to leave, and I said, you know they're going to kill me. And her response was, I know. And I said, I need you to help me escape that. It was the third my 16-year-old uncle who said, I am going to help you. And he did. I ran away, fast forward 2 years with my grandparents. I was going to be taken back home. And I said, no way in the world. I'm done. And I ran away with my 22-year-old boyfriend. You would guess it. 2 weeks later, I was pregnant. Now, in another abusive relationship, things weren't going very well. At the age of 15, I knew things for certain. I was a mama. My son born to a Latina uneducated, menial labor, family didn't support her, runaway, abusive relationship, you name it, call it what you will. I said, I must do something to create things for my son. My dream was dim, it wasn't gone. And I just re inspired it in myself. I walked over to the community college, knocked on their doors, and said, I'm ready to go to university. Subsequently, I couldn't go to university because I was 15, and I just kept on asking the questions. I was that niña necia. I was that gal that would not go away. How many of you have ever said, I am not going away until I get the answer, right? I know some that you have, right? And so many of us say, hey, I want to do this. I was there. And the last thing that I heard from Roxanne was the fact that I can go and get a divorce from my parents. I needed to get emancipated. And I did. 30 days later, I emancipated myself from my parents. I hadn't seen them for 3.5 years, and they had no desire to see me, and just kept on tracking forward. Throughout that time, when I became an adult and I finally left that abusive relationship at the age of 19, I already had some college under my belt, continuing to work and create opportunities for myself and my son. I was just grateful that I can take care of myself. I was grateful that I can take care of my son. I was grateful for the fact and opportunity that there was so much life ahead of us and to create and to be able to enjoy and relish on it. From that point on, age of 17, I was in leadership. Age of 19, I was helping students do the same things that I was doing. Most of them were more educated than I was. Some of them were old enough to be my parents. And I just kept on moving forward. I'm proud to say I have 2 associate's degrees. I have a bachelor's in international business and marketing. I have a dual master's in international business and marketing, as well as additional studies in international entrepreneurship. I've become a serial entrepreneur. I work with people from all over the world. And if it's possible for one, in the midst of whatever goes on, it's possible for all of us. If this little girl who ran around with dirty face, hair all over the place, descalza, no shoes on, without a hope in the world, it's possible for any of us to achieve what we desire, to take those adversities and create extraordinary things out of it.
Absolutely. That is so inspiring. And we often forget in the midst of our own struggles and our own pain that, other people have undergone things and there is a way out. We can't stay in that, and it takes a strong soul. And I don't know, a strong like warrior presence, which you obviously have to say, I need to do something to change where I'm at and move forward. And the fact that you didn't lose hope, that you were like, listen, I'm going to go and get my degree. I'm going to go and do things that I feel are going to advance me. It takes a lot of strength because a lot of people tend to lose hope, but just like a lot of people have probably lost a lot of hope throughout this year as well, where they feel like it's gloom and where, what's going on right now, in Congress is also, straining on our souls, I think. But I love that you were persistent in knowing I have to do something to change. I'm not going to stay in this point of view. Now, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to create? And you have, you've
Be willing to do it. You talked about that, Sandra, to look at, be willing to do the work. I was willing to do the work, right? It wasn't easy to get up at 3 a.m. after I went to bed at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't easy to still be responsible for a full-blown life at the age of 17 to make it into university. Right? I still had to prepare my son's father's lunch, my son's lunch, my lunch, carry my heavy old backpack with me, with a 2-year-old in my arms, in the snow, to the tune of 8 hours a day round trip to make it to and from school. It didn't even include school time. That was to and from school. And
Yeah.
to be willing to put forth the effort and be grateful amongst all of it. Because when I thought I had it all, I was 33 and on top of the world. I had the car, the house, the kid, the education, the business, the life, more than what I could have ever dreamt of. I never even thought I would make it to my 18th birthday, much less 33. And in that midst, too, life just like smacked me right in the face again and said, hey, you've got a brain tumor. Wake up and live. and having that wake up call and saying, wow, what now? What am I grateful for in this moment as I'm delivering this message to my soon to be 19-year-old son? I'm grateful that I had the privilege and the opportunity to raise him. I'm grateful for the opportunity that he's a man, that he's moving forward, that he's getting educated, that he's getting a job. I'm grateful for all these things in life. We can sit there and dwell, and we can sit there and create a new future. And for me, my entire life was about creating a new future. I lived in a fantasy world. If you can see the future, I knew one thing. If I could see the future, I can step into it. And I had to create it so vividly that I stepped into it myself. It's been 11 years since I had been diagnosed. And today I'm happy. I'm happy. I continue to move forward into what I love. I think one of the greatest things on here, Sandra, is when the unfamiliar becomes more familiar than the familiar, then we have what we desire. And I'll take a step back and explain that. When the unfamiliar, which is that vision of what I want, becomes more familiar than the reality that I've lived, then that's when life happens for me. And that's what I did. I painted the picture when I was in the ER room and doctors didn't know what was going on. The only thing I could focus on, my next step was my next birthday, which was 2 days from that. Doctors cancel everything. I can't. That's my guiding light. That birthday party is my guiding light. My son's birthday party in December, that was in October 6th. December 7th, my son's birthday party, that was my next guiding light. And continue to have that and have those moments of gratitude and passion to say, hey, you know what? It may not be perfect. How do I make it perfect? What's good about this? What can I cherish within these moments? And I know that for me, this time has been magical. Speaking of COVID, it's been magical because I've had time to recenter, focus, think about what's important, what's not important. All those fuzzy wuzzy things that were hanging on to me before no longer matter. What matters is here and now. What matters is having this conversation here with you. Which in the past I would have been thinking, oh, I've got to run to the next thing or stage or meeting or presentation or event or whatever that may be. Today I get to be here now. I get to be here now.
I love that. It's about being present, being in the moment and enjoying those moments. And in the midst of feeling whatever we're going through, I love that you said that, just focus on that vision that you have, that next place that you're going to be at. And that's the power of consciousness and the power of what we're all discovering with science and with, neuroscience and all of that, our potential, our true potential, that when we focus on things, we can manifest the things that we want in our lives. And the same token, the things that we undergo, sometimes we don't have those questions. It's the why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I undergoing this thing? And I always think, you're right. Like, you have to kind of flip that switch and keep your eye focused on what it is that you do want, those things that you do want to create for yourself, because it's so easy for everyone to stay stuck in that place. And I think all of us at one point or another have. And I always, I don't feel like apologetic at all whenever I sink back into, the things that I've gone through, like with losing my mom. And whenever I get in that funk, and I always tell people, it's okay to get in that funk. It's not okay to stay there,
That's right. That's right. Because we get to have a choice. And, first of all, I'm so sorry about your mom. And I really get it. It's difficult. And you take a look and you take a step back and say, okay, where do I go here now? And what would happen if we were to have an attitude of, I've got this. Okay, I get it. This is happening. It's not happening to me. It's happening through me, right? That whatever's on the other end is a choice. It's my choice. I could either be happy or I could be sad. I could either be stuck or I could move forward. Time is going to pass no matter what. I knew that at the age of 17. Either I go to university, which, by the way, I was accepted at 16, so blessed to be, with a 6th grade education, right? You got to stay focused on that business. I'm like, how does this girl with a 6th grade education make it into college? How does she? right? That was my vision. I wasn't going to accept anything else for an answer, right? When we allow others to give us the answer, we lose our power. Yet when we hold to our vision, what we think is possible, okay, this happened. Okay, I had to walk in the snow. Guess what? My shoes got wet yet again. Guess what I can do? Take another pair of dry socks. That's all I can do, right?
Hmm.
What I can do is what I can do. Go. I heard this extraordinary saying: go as far as you can, and then look around and go even further, and go as far as you can. So as we continue to move forward, be grateful for every moment, every opportunity, and everything has a learning. I didn't learn to love my son because my mother taught me how to love. She wasn't affectionate. She didn't connect. As a matter of fact, she rejected me. Yet, if my mother would have been a tenth the woman that I wish she would have been, a mother to me, I wouldn't be half the woman that I am today. Through her and through those adversities, I learned to connect. I learned to love. I learned to honor. I learned to respect. I learned to enjoy and see and be in that moment of saying, hey, what do I choose to powerfully create? Because it's not stimulus and response. It is stimulus and reaction. Reaction is what is naturally inside. That is, we are not conscious of what's happening with us. And when we start to be conscious, we get to choose. We get to powerfully choose. It's not we're going through this marriage or we're going through this business and we'll see what happens next year. No, let's be intentional about the time that we're spending together. Let's be intentional about what lessons we get and what do we do now. Maybe people lost their jobs. I get it. I've lost, one day I was on a stage and the next day I had nothing. No stage, nowhere to go, no airports, no meetings, no events. I get it. And where do I go from here now? And I knew, son, that at the beginning of COVID, even right now, and that's what I'm speaking of, is if I made it about others, then I can get out of my head and serve where my passion was at. And it helped. And I had conversations with people from all over the world within a matter of 24 hours. And to recreate myself on the fly. And it's been extraordinary, right? The gifts of COVID, the gifts of adversity, the gifts of anything that has ever happened through us are extraordinary when we can see them.
I love that. And I love this conversation. We're talking about gratitude, about being grateful for the now, being present in the now, understanding, the things that we go through and how we can use them to teach us something, whether it's the opposite of what we had endured, like you. And I'm so sorry for that as well. I think it's, this is why I believe we all need to be more empathetic and understand that all of us are going through something or have been through something. When you look at somebody, look at them through the eyes of what could they have experienced, and be more understanding of one another and being intentional with our lives, because we have what we have, we've been through what we've been through. And now let's be grateful for the now, for this present, for the ability to take a deep breath right now in this 1 minute, and take it minute by minute and live our lives being joyous and being happy and being intentional with the direction that we want to go, because we have the power to really design that life with that intention.
Beautiful.
And I love that you said that.
I love that. And I love the fact that you talked about the being compassionate, empathetic. I think about people don't know what wounds we had as children or things that we're still carrying with us. Maybe some people are in an abusive relationship right now. Maybe they lost their child, like somebody really important to them.
Yeah.
We don't know that. And I think about it as if we're wearing a coat and we have this wound underneath. And then we go and accidentally touch that person's wound. What would it look like? Because it wasn't our intention, right? How can we recover from that? How can we help and really reconnect to that person and serve them? And just understand that we're all wounded. We all have a wound, no matter what that wound was. And none of them are, mine's worse than yours, and let me tell you about mine, because they're all important, right? They're all important to us. And as we look at it, when we can see people with compassion, when we can treat them with empathy, when we can really connect heart to heart and say, how are you today? How are things going in your world? And to know that this person downloaded, for instance, my was working with my business partner, and like I was just so excited to share about my new relationship and like getting, you know, getting married and all these things. And I hadn't shared that with him, and the freedom that that gives us to be human, to remember our humanity, what connects us. What connects us is more than what divides us. To start building those bridges, to start connecting and getting curious. Curiosity is one of our best friends. Getting curious about where that person comes from, what makes them tick, what gets them excited, to really understand their story. I love asking them that. What's your superpower? I love asking that. What were you most excited as a child? And I can tell you in my experience from networking so much, when I sit down and I ask that question, people are just open up. What would have taken me an entire year to build a relationship takes 20 minutes. And every meeting that I have with my team members, that is the first question I ask. How are you today? What's going on in your life? Because whatever is not said is what really holds us back. And it has a triple effect and a ripple effect, a triple ripple effect in our lives and
Mhm.
in our business and our communication and our way of being. And even that person not feeling free to say that someone who was sick on the team and I didn't know that. And they were so afraid. They're like, well, I'm dealing with it. You are dealing with it. And I want to know about it because it's important to me. Your humanity is more important than the work that we're doing right now. And when you're okay, everything that we do is going to be okay. It's going to be even better than okay. It's going to be extraordinary, right? Because that ripple effect, now that person's free, they've been heard, they're understood, and now the work that they're able to deliver is extraordinary.
Absolutely. Rosia, I love hearing from you. I love just your perspective, and your heart, because I think you could sense it. I think we're all, like I said, we're all going through something, and you have come out so much more hopeful, even while we're still carrying baggage, because I know that obviously you're still carrying, baggage like we all are. But I love that we're having this conversation during this time of year, during this moment right now, because I think so many people can relate to it. And I hope if you're listening, that you understand that we are all going through something, and we have the power to really decide what 2021 is going to be for us. There's a thing with seeing and visioning, what we want, but then it's what's our responsibility and role in it, right? So what do we have to do to really take action and move forward to create a life that we want? Because life is precious. No day is granted to us. We can't, we have to live with feeling the joy and finding the bliss in these moments right now, in the ability to take a deep breath, and the ability to look at a tree despite of what you're going through, and understand that this world that we're living is a lot more spiritual than we can imagine. And the Saturn Jupiter alignment, I think that was so moving for me, but wow, we live in this so magnanimous world that is just majestic and powerful and spiritual, and and we are alive in it, and we have the opportunity right now to create things. And I just want everyone to feel connected to other people, to understand that we all are walking this world together, but we have a responsibility to create and design and paint the canvas of our lives, and we have to be intentional with it. Yeah.
Who's who you want to be and be it.
Yep. Yep. I so appreciate having you on, Rocio. I'm sure we're going to do so many more things together, but share just your any last thoughts or a message that you'd like to share with people.
Most definitely choose who you want to be and then be it, because who we want to be is not who we are, and it'll take effort to become who we want to be. To also take care of ourselves, because until we take care of ourselves, we have nothing to offer anyone else. Take care, be mindful, take care of yourself, be selfish. I think selfish is one of the best things that anyone can be. Go take care of yourself, take some time, recharge, unwind, have a practice, whatever the practice may look like. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's a combination there. I know for me it's journaling, meditation, exercise, quiet time for me in the morning. I like to spend the first 2 to 3 hours a day, very nicely when it's 3 hours a day, to myself. It's quiet. It's bliss. It's about me, my body. And then when I go out into the world, I have so much to give. I can be present for others and be there, truly be present. Be present in your life.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you know, that's why I think like in the mornings, my coffee time, I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, I don't want anybody to be up. That's my time of peace, of drinking coffee by myself, of meditating, of doing everything. Spend time healing you, and then be a visionary about your future, and be intentional and owning our responsibilities. Thank you guys so much for this wonderful day and spending time with us. Let us know if you're watching the replay or if you're watching us live. But I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, a wonderful new year. I'm not sure if we're going to do a Women Wednesday next week. I may pop in, but trying to take some time off for myself as well. Yeah, but I just want everybody to have a happy holiday, and I look forward to an awesome 2021, and that be it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Yay. All right. Take care, guys. We will see you next time.